Hey everybody, what's going on? Your host, LovelyCheesePizza here. Welcome to my brand new Let's Play series, Let's Play Descent. Brought to us in 1995 by Parallax Software and Interplay. This game is so cool. I have so many fond memories of this game as a kid. It's one of the first computer games that I ever owned. I played it all the time on my old-ass compact Presario, which is probably in like a fucking landfill somewhere by now. But my parents bought this game for me from Incredible Universe before they turned it into Fry's Electronics, which, holy shit, that is such a long time ago. Oh, it makes you feel old, doesn't it? But it's a great game. If there was any way that I could describe what this game is in a nutshell for people that have never heard of this before, would be like, it's basically Doom or Duke Nukem, but in spaceships, and instead of fighting off, you know, minions from hell or aliens and shit, you're fighting off virus-infected robots, and it's fucking awesome. It's so cool. I picked up a copy of this from GOG a while back, and I've been playing it off and on for a little while, and I finally saw that it came out on Steam, and so I picked it up there as well. But I also I noticed that I was having some visual issues with the Steam version where, like, it would only show up on, like, 2/3 of the screen. Like, it would scale with it so you could still see everything, but it just didn't look right. And so I ended up picking up the GOG one instead. And I've actually wanted to do a series of this game for an incredibly long time, but I was always using Fraps to record my stuff, and it just would not work with this game. There would be such massive slowdown that it was impossible. But now that I'm using the NVIDIA Shadowplay feature, it works like a fucking dream, and it's amazing. And now I get to finally do something I've always wanted to do, so we're gonna play with it. But this game has amazing gameplay and visuals. Like, instead of having like sprite-based enemies like we did in, you know, Duke Nukem and Doom, we're actually going to be getting 3D, like full 3D polygons in it for the enemy designs. Ah, it's great. I love it. And this game has a wonderful soundtrack, man. Like, it's amazing what they were able to do with PC adlib cards back in the early and mid-90s. They did make a MIDI soundtrack for this game as well as an optional thing, but I think the adlib version sounds way better, and you guys will find that out over the course of the game. So, we're going to be playing this on Rookie this time around. I know it sounds like I'm taking the easy way out, but this game is fucking hard. It really is. There's 30 levels in this game, 27 regular and 3 secret ones, which I probably may or may not find any of those, maybe by accident, but this game gradually gets hard really fucking fast. Like, there's definitely a small little curve, just to kind of get you used to the game, but once you really get into it, the spike really happens, and this game becomes very unforgiving very fast. So, we're going to play on Rookie. I'm not going to bore you guys with all the exposition and the like, briefing in this, because the game is actually very simplistic. Not to mention, I really hate reading the text in this game a lot of the time, because D kind of looks like P, and this weird, like, futuristic font, really not doing it for the eyes. It's just, and I really don't feel like, you know, mispronouncing, like, half the shit in here on accident. So, but basically, what the premise of this game is there's a lot of different mines on these different planets in our solar system, and there's like a rogue virus that's going around, and it's causing all the, like, the robots and mechs to act weird. And so pretty much what we are is we're like a contract mercenary that's going to be going through all these mines trying to figure out what's going on, and if we run into any resistance on the way, we kill anything on sight. We need to save hostages out of these mines, and then before we leave the place, we need to find the reactor core of each mine and destroy it. And then, you know, exit the mine before the whole place goes, you know, critical mass and explodes. So it's a pretty simple premise, and that's pretty much what they're telling you there. So, one cool thing about this game is whenever you encounter new enemies in the game will let you know beforehand. So since we're, you know, on the first level of the game, they're going to kind of tell us all the different enemies we're going to be seeing for the first few levels, and anytime there's new ones, they'll let you know. So this is the Class 1 drone. Its armaments are 2 pulse rock cutters, which sounds pretty serious, but I assure you it's not. Standard utility robot, apparently modified for combat, should pose little threat alone, but could be trouble in groups, which, even in groups, even as large as the group may be, it's really not that bad. This is a Class 2 drone, medium PTMC automated scout robot, using 2 argon welding lasers. A little bit more, you know, intense, aggressive when cornered, relatively weak weapons, but fires rapidly, not rapids firedly. These guys in groups can be a little bit of a menace, but even still, they're pretty easy to dispatch as well. These fucking guys, though, the medium lifters, modified PTMC maintenance robot with 2 diamond-plated swing arms. Normally used to burrow through porous rock, recon cameras have witnessed this robot shredding anything in sight, including the hostages. And that's not good. You don't want to let those guys in the room with the hostages. Just a really bad idea. The thing with these guys, though, is that they have no projectile weapons, so from a distance, they're virtually harmless. But if they get up near you and start swinging, yeah, they can do some real damage, so you gotta be careful. The Small Hulk, modified PTMC mining robot with 2 heavy argon lasers. Standard bore robot, tough and agile. Really still not that bad, though. In large groups, they can be a problem. But they're not nearly as bad as these fucking guys, the Medium Hulk. They're equipped with 2 missile launchers, so they can deal a lot more damage. Heavily armored for explosive deployment deep in mines. Slow moving, but very dangerous. Definitely very dangerous. There's another one of those later on in the game that we'll talk about that, oh my god, they are the worst. And then there's these guys, the Spider Processing Robot, which we actually won't see them for a number of levels, but when we do, they are not tight. They have 3 mass driver rifles, which I want to say that they're actually like Vulcan cannons, but I think that they might still be laser weapons. Either way, they're assholes. These mechs were designed to pick up rubble for processing in their body cavities. We have no further info on these robots. And then we have the standard emergency exit for PTMC mines. It is hardwired to open in the event of reactor failures. Locating the exit hatches before destroying the reactors would be a wise choice, and they are so right in saying that. Not so much in the first couple levels, but there will be a few of these where you're just like, how the fuck am I supposed to get to that thing fast enough, man? So a little bit more blah blah blahness here. And then we'll finally be off on our job here. So here's the little debriefing thing to MD 1032 MP station Shiva Earth orbit from PTMC headquarters. Report to the main hangar at 8:30 for immediate ship prep and launch. Proceed to lunar outpost MN0012 for level 1 descent and insertion. Contract with outpost lost 2 days ago. Intelligence indicates low infestation. Destruction of primary reactor core is imperative. Be aware of hostage situations and proceed with caution. And with that said, here we go. This is level 1. So we have kind of this whole cockpit view here. If you want to change it, you can use the plus and minus keys to do that. This is one way where you get kind of the full screen. You got more viewing space, but I really don't like the way it looks. You can also have this view as well, which I think is a lot better, but I still personally really like the cockpit look. It just, I don't know, it seems more fitting. So we've got our standard, rock cutter laser here, and here we go. Now we're gonna move along. We'll see all different types of enemies in here, all the ones that we just listed off. But oh man, it is simply fantastic. Just the sound effects package and like the explosion graphics and noises are so great. I'll let you listen. Even when you get hit, the screen kind of goes a little bit orange and red on you there. It's just, it's truly wonderful, man. I'll let you kind of listen to the soundtrack a little as well. Or at least in whatever capacity you can. I guess with all the, crazy stuff going on, it's harder to hear it. But there was something so charming about MS-DOS games, man. It was so easy to get so, immersed into these games because, even though the graphics weren't incredible, they were for that time. Like, these graphics in 1995 were amazing. And, I have a feeling that if they were to have released this game, like, today, it would still do really well, especially with kind of the retro revival that's going on. Like, this game would do incredible, and I actually heard that they, oh, here's where the hostages are at, by the way. So you can just go kind of jump in here, pick them up real quick, and then everything's all good. But they did like a Kickstarter project, and they raised up like $660,000 for a new Descent title with like, today's graphics and such, and I think that's going to be amazing. I'm so stoked for that when it happens. So we'll just have to see. But we're going to be dealing with, we're going to have such a crazy arsenal of weapons once we get further into this game. We'll have anything from like these standard rock cutter lasers to like Vulcan cannons and fusion cannons, and then having a kind of a cool variance of missiles too, like these concussion missiles, to homing missiles and smart bombs. And we'll have just a really wide array of enemies to deal with in all these really cool, just labyrinthine type of puzzle environments. And it's great. These areas here, we'll encounter them a lot in the game. You'll notice when I came in here, it didn't do anything for us at all, but if your energy bar is lower than 100, it'll immediately refill you back to 100, so that's where the benefit comes in. And all of our weapons, with the exception of the Vulcan cannon, all consume energy. So that's, keep that in mind. And then you can see our those blue orbs will replenish the shield, which is represented by that weird little kind of purple gelatinous blob around our ship there. We can also fire off flares, which will light up dark areas. They cost 1 energy apiece, and it's an invaluable thing to have. It really is, because there's going to be a lot of times in this game where there's a lot of super dark stuff going on. And so being able to light up the area really helps, because it'll also help us find like hidden doors, where we'll find things like extra lives and cloaking devices and such. So always good to utilize those. So here's where we're gonna find our main key. Another big parallel for Doom and Duke Nukem type games, finding the colored keys, which we're actually using the same color scheme for keys too, with blue, yellow, and red. Which the red key, every time, the red key will always take you to the reactor. So no matter what level you're in, there's always going to be a red key, but you may not always find a blue and yellow key, so not to worry about it. Another thing too, and I'll explain this in just a sec here. I think there's supposed to be a Vulcan cannon in here. Oh yeah, it's right down here. That's right. I knew it was down here somewhere. There we go. So here's our Vulcan cannon. This is the only weapon in the game that uses traditional ammo. So like I kind of already explained, everything else uses energy, but this will use live bullets. It really comes in handy when you're low on energy and you don't want to have to waste it on other things. So that's what's up. So always a good thing to have in a pinch. You can definitely open doors by running into them, but it's usually always more practical to just fire from a distance and open them. Just because. I mean, I guess if you're the guy that, you know, sued the cruise liner for $21.5 million for damages, just for what he apparently got hit by like a sliding glass door on a cruise ship, and it supposedly gave him brain damage and memory loss, which I don't know how the fuck you lose memory and have brain damage from just barely getting conked by a sliding door that was his own fault for running into. It's just like the weirdest world these days now, man. So here we go. So here's where the reactor is. It's a very, very easy thing to kill. It's a totally stationary enemy, and it'll just fire these red orbs at you. They don't do a lot of damage, and so you can just kind of sit here and wail on it. And then once you blow it up, you'll have 45 seconds to get the fuck out. And in this situation, really not much of a problem. Like the door is right here. But there's gonna be times where you're just like, what the fuck? There's so much stuff going on, and then you can just bounce out. And then the thing explodes and everything's good. I love that little jingle. It's one of my favorite parts of this game. So you'll kind of get here and you get little bonuses for, you know, what your stats were throughout the level. And no skill bonus, and I think that's probably because we're playing it on Rookie. But if you play it on the harder difficulties, I think you get a bonus for that. And so I mean, they do have a point system in this game, and it may seem very complimentary, where it's not really that important, but every 50,000 points you get an extra life, and later on in the game that is so important. It is wildly important. So after the we'll do the second level too, and then we'll call it a day. So this is from PTMC Headquarters, Earth Orbit, to MD-1032. Proceed to Lunar Scilab SL0007 for standard insertion. Infestation is low, but caution is advised. Monitor coded subspace channel for updates, and further intelligence as available. Alrighty. Good times. We're actually, I think in this level we're gonna get our first upgrade to our laser cannon, which will be very, very helpful. Super down with it. So the way that I found out about this game, actually, I was just kind of thinking about this while I've been playing. The way that I found out about this game is awesome. You know, like those PlayStation Jam Pack Underground things that people used to get that was just kind of like a demo disc? That's how I found out about this game. There was a computer game that I got from my parents. It was called 250 Best Arcade Games of All Time, I think it was. Which was actually really funny because most of the games that were in there weren't arcade games at all. So I don't really know where they came up with the whole thing on that, but that's a different story altogether. We're gonna go this way, actually, because I think that the blue key that we need is down this way. It totally is, actually, over here. But yeah, it was just like one of those demo discs, and it had a whole slew of games on it. It was awesome. It had a lot of classic PC games in there, like, you know, Jazz Jackrabbit, and it had Descent. It had a really great fighting game in there called One Must Fall 2097. Let's see, there was some of like the Scunny games were in there that were pretty fun. There were like some card games. Operation Body Count was in there. A whole bunch of stuff. And so I remember finding Descent in there, and the demo was really a pretty well-sized demo. It was like, I think it was like 7 or 8 levels were playable. And then in classic MS-DOS games fashion back in those days, when you'd exit a game, oh, get out of my face, Jesus. Jesus, get out of my face! Come on. I know you're being all agile and shit, but you're gonna die. There we go. I'm gonna blow the door open. Blow the door open. There we go. And then, like classic DOS games fashion, every time you'd finish one of those things, they'd have like that little splash screen at the end saying, "If you want to, you know, register this full, the full version of this game, please call this and this and this number." And every time I'd finish the game, I'd always try to talk my parents into getting it. "Mom, Dad, can I please have this game? I play it so much already, and I want to play the rest of it." And they just, you know, they wouldn't budge on it. They just wouldn't budge on it until it finally came out in stores. At Incredible Universe, and I saw it and I was like, "Oh my god, I have to have it!" And I was just like, "Mom, Dad, can I please have it? Please?" You know, and they're like, "Well, yeah, I guess you have been doing really good in school lately, and you know, you did a lot of chores this week and whatnot." So they're like, "Okay, all right." And so they bought it for me, and dude, I played this game until I damn near wore the CD-ROM out. It was awesome. I love it so much. And I was using one of my old, like, I think it was like a Gravis, one of those kind of like flight simulator controllers. Worked really well. I wish that I still had that thing, but unfortunately I don't. So that doesn't really help out the cause very much. The one graphical issue that I was going to tell you about is opening the map, and I think it's probably just because of the resolution I'm playing this game in, because it didn't happen when I had it just at like native settings, but it like the game pauses to open up the menu, or the map, when normally it wouldn't do that. So it's a really minor thing. It's not a big deal, but it kind of has that same sort of like Doom and Duke Nukem thing where it's all like wireframe and you can see where like the different colored doors are at, which is really useful when some of these things get extra big. If you haven't picked up the hostages yet, it'll actually notate where they are with just a couple of like green diamonds, like way out in the distance. So, and then the purple door I think is the door that you entered the level from. So, yeah, a lot of useful things here. So we're going to be heading to the blue room, which is right here. Oh yes, yes. Yeah, that same arcade game CD was actually the same way that I played Doom and let's see, it was Doom and a few other games for the first time. Like, oh, let's see, Wolfenstein 3D was also there. So, yeah, lots of good stuff. So we're headed towards the red room here. But yeah, back to that thing with that guy that sued for 20. Like, how in the hell do you? Were you like? They actually paid out on this too. Like, it wasn't like they sued him or he sued them for that amount of money and it just, you know, never happened. They actually paid out in full for that. Like, how in the world can you justify needing $22.5 million for just, you know, walking into a fucking sliding glass door. I don't understand that. Like, this world is crazy these days. There was like another lady that she sued her own nephew for like $8 million for supposedly like breaking her arm by giving her a hug, like an over-enthusiastic hug. And then she fucking, like, who does that shit? It's such a terrible thing. But, whatever. So here's our red key. By the way, big shouts to the interior designers of this room. I love the kind of red and gray looking thing going on. However, I don't know about the whole, you know, open magma / lava pit here. I feel like, definitely a fair amount of workman's comp doled out at some point or another. Yeah, you know, we got 3 lawsuits this week. Travis, Henry, and Carl, you know, they all, you know, singed both of their arms off in the lava pit this morning. So just get ready for that. All right, let's head off to the old red room here, which I think the red room is actually like the name of like a Vegas nightclub, possibly. Could be wrong. That's where our exit's at. So a little bit further away than where it was in the first level, but not really a big journey by any means. Here's our first upgrade. So now our laser not only looks better, but it sounds cooler too. And it's more powerful, obviously. Hey, a laser! How come you don't have a laser, Woody? Which, that statement always kind of bothered me. It's like, in what crazy-ass, you know, reality are you living in which cowboys have lasers? There's none. There are none of those anywhere that's even a possibility. So, very strange. But, you know, I mean, laser envy. So, yeah, I mean, that would be a pretty crazy world in which, you know, cowboys had lasers. I mean, you definitely, nobody would ever break the law again at, you know, at the expense of potentially, you know, getting dematerialized by being shot by a laser in the face. Oh, we got an extra life. Tight. Totally cool with that. So now we just gotta jet out of here, and we got a secret door opened up there as the last defense system for these guys. They thought, you know, maybe we'll just sit here for some odd number of years, not knowing if somebody's ever gonna come in here. Whatever. So we're gonna dip out of here. Those guys are always easy to kill. Like, homing missiles, you'll find out in this game, are really one of the best possible missile weapons in here. I mean, me and my homings, you know. Damn it, I blew my chance on that little statement there, but whatever. Can't win them all. Can't win them all. So we got the full rescue bonus again, and here we go. So we're gonna call it good on this episode right here. We'll at least load up the 3rd level. But when we come back on the next installment of Let's Play Descent, we're gonna head off to the third mine here. So we'll do the quick briefing. Proceed to Lunar Military Installation MR0331 for surveillance and insertion. Intelligence SATs report rising activity on EM band transmissions near MR0331. Proceed with caution. So that's where we're going to be headed. Oh, yes. I had to hear that little clip there. That is like the most DOS game sounding little audio track there. Boo 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 boo. Okay, so we're gonna save real quick here. Oh, that's not what I meant. There we go. So we'll be using these quite often, but we'll just call this LCP Part 1. So when we come back, we're gonna keep on moving through here. This is where the mazes are gonna start getting just a little bit longer. So I hope you guys decide to hang around for this project. It's gonna be a lot of fun, you guys. This game is it's a blast, and if you love seeing me getting filled with human rage, just wait until later in this game. There will be so much of it. It's insane. So you guys take care. This is your host, LovelyCheesePizza, saying thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care, everybody. Bye.